can't remember a lot of this stuff.
You remember some of these guys that you see, Don?
Yeah, I remember them. They look quite a bit older now. Jeez. Some of them I don't even remember. Red McNett and a bunch of them I do. But no, I guess I used to be the one that raced or graded the racetrack each week.
Did you really?
Yeah.
How did that work?
Well, they put some big holes in it.
Right.
So we had to grade it out, you know. But every week I'd go up there with a bulldozer and grade it. And when it was going through the creek was the worst to keep it up because you carry all that water up onto the track.
Right.
And then I had car number 10. Mm-hmm. And we used to race there in Sherman in the gravel pit over there.
Did you?
And yeah, I remember the time that John Messenger, he hit me in the side and knocked me right over in the creek and tipped me right over, right in the creek.
Did he really?
Yeah, I was quite mad and I chased him up through the field, and but I didn't catch him. He was faster than I was. But we had a really good time there.
So talk to me. How did that happen? You're going between turns 3 and 4?
Yeah, it was between 3 and 4.
And what happened?
Well, we come around the curve there, and then he swung sideways, and he goosed his car and shoved me right straight over into the creek, and I tipped over.
So that's on the other side, so you go on the back side of the track.
Let's see, it would be on number 2. Yeah, number 3 turn.
Yeah, number 3 turn.
Yeah, number 3 turn.
So he goosed you, you roll over on the side, he goes on, then at the...
He parked it, he headed right for the pits, and I headed right after him. I chasing him. I was by foot, you know, because I didn't have no car. He parked his car and he headed up through the woods, and I was chasing him, but I didn't catch him.
What would have happened if you caught him?
Nothing, probably. Well, we was always good friends after that, too. Gee whiz. But we did have a lot of fun. And, of course, I had 2 brothers that raced then, too, you know.
Who were they?
It was Walter, the one, he got killed here a few years back, but he raced, and then he used to do the stunt driving, too. You know, like he'd jump a car and dive it into another one, so on.
Tell me about how would that work?
Well, they had build a ramp there, and he'd drive the car up over that, and then T-bone down into another car, you know. And so that was, it was something. Yeah.
How would he protect himself? I mean, just must have had some sort of...
Oh, he didn't have much. Oh, yeah, you just had a seat belt and rollover bars. That's all you had.
Right.
Yeah, it didn't take long to get a car fixed up to race. You buy it one day, you could have it ready. By one night, working in the garage, you'd have it ready to go the next day. So it was a lot of fun.
Now, your other brother, who else raced?
I had Lewis and I had Walter. Oh, Lewis, Walter. No, and I had Lewis, Walter, and I think Leroy. He raced some.
Was there ever a time when it was just the James brothers race?
I can't remember us all just racing together.
Yeah.
Then I had a sister-in-law, Clarine James. She'd run the powder puff. Yeah.
Pretty good?
She raced. Yeah, she was one of the top women for racing. Yeah, she was pretty good at it. No, I really can't think of too many other things that happened up there, but...
Well, in interviewing Don McNitt and Howard, who kind of had the idea for a racetrack, they must have talked, I think, to your dad about laying it out?
Yeah, well, right, and I done the bulldozing, but it was my father's dozer and was working for them then. But no, we wasn't too much to lay out, you know. They just figured where they wanted the track, and we just bulldozed it out and went through the creek, and went through the creek on both ends, and then they got where they put a tile in there, and we didn't go through the creek anymore. Right. Then we graded it, and but it was, and everybody just sat on the bench, you know, and watched it.
I'm trying to visualize when you laid out the track. There's Don literally looking at a field and looking to you and saying, here's what we want to do. Do you want to follow me? I'm almost like he walks around and you with a bulldozer following behind him.
You know, I think they must have done that all and decided what they wanted to do before I got up there.
Okay.
Because I didn't go up there when they laid it out. I don't remember that.
Right.
So they must have decided that before we got there.
And then after each race, then would you go back up and sort of try to grade it out? Sometime
during the week, I'd take and go up with a dozer and grade it for the next week.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'd have to grade it every week. It would, you know, it was just dirt, and it really get rough. You know, they'd tear it all up. So, no. Then we raced in the gravel pit over to Sherman, too, at the same time. Yep. But my father, I had a lot of friends and things, and we had a garage down there by the Triangle. We called it the 3-bay garage. And my dad Monday morning come in and he says, all these race cars around here, he says, I ain't gonna have another race car come in this yard. It comes across that bridge there, coming in from the road, he says, they're gone. Yeah. He says, because we'd spend all week getting them cars ready and we didn't have no trouble, but come Monday morning, the trucks wasn't ready to go. We're in the trucking business. Yeah. He says, I've had enough of this. So I remember that.
Well, Don, you won a couple of races up there at Watts Flats.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I did.
And a couple of features.
Yeah.
Did, when you were kind of in a race, were there some racers that you knew were on the track who were pretty good, or either pretty?
Well, Dickie Pangborn, he was the one that was, that I say, he kept his car up, you know, and they knew a little bit more about the timing and doing all the stuff to it to keep in top shape. So he had a real good car. And Johnny Whitehead had a good car. There was some good ones up there. Bobby Snars, I think he was there. Don Little, he had a good car. There was some good ones there. Of course, you didn't have much money in any of them.
So, literally, if you won a feature, what would you get? How much money would you get if you won a feature?
Geez, you know, I don't remember what it was, to tell you the truth. I really don't. Seems like it was $25 or something, maybe.
It's the cost of a car.
Yeah, about that. Yeah, about that.
So Don, did you race after Roll O Bowl? Did you?
No, I got married at that time, and my wife was pregnant, and she says, no more racing for you, so I quit.
Okay.
Yeah, I sold the car, and then I went to race over to Sherman, and I was there that night, and the guy was there that I bought my car. He said, how about you running the car tonight? And I said, well, don't announce it on the speaker. You got a different driver in there, but I'll run it. Well, come to find out that night, up in the stands there, up on the side of the bank, like one standing right next to my wife there, she just come over and she says, hey, I got Don James driving my car tonight. So my wife knew about it quicker than anybody.
Oh my gosh. Here you're trying to do it surreptitiously. Yeah. Oh my God.
Oh boy. Yeah.
What was the highlight of your racing career?
No, that was about it. You know, just go to the Roll O Bowl, and that was pretty much every weekend, you know.
Right.
Geez, all the time.
Did they have good crowds there?
Yeah, they had quite a few. Yeah. Yeah, it did pretty good. I don't know how many people they brought in there, but they was all lined up on the bank there, sitting on blankets and stuff. It was quite a few people.
Do you remember the times when they had the wall of fire and they would kind of go through that?
Yeah, Red McNett.
Was it?
Yeah. Yeah, when Red went through that. Yeah.
Who was the flag man? Who was the guy that...
Gee, I believe Don done the flagging.
And Leo Yeager, was Leo involved in it?
Oh yeah, Leo was. Yeah, that's right. Leo was a flag man.
Yeah.
Yeah, Don was an announcer. Yeah, that's right.
So they had a speaker system.
Yeah.
Out there.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
What a hoot. Well, when we get done here today, I guess we're going over to Roll O Bowl.
Well, that'd be nice.
Yeah, they've cleared it up for us, and I think you'll enjoy it. Some memories will come back then.
If we can see it.
Well, you'll be
probably growed up with a brush. Can we?
Yeah, you'll be able to walk through that.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. They went down and mowed it up, so we'll be able to walk the track.
Well, good. That'd be great.
Well, thank you so much.
Okay.
It's terrific. Being one of the James boys, of which, who were your brothers?
Well, I had 5 brothers, and we all raced at Roll O Bowl.
Right.
Yeah. We had Walter and Clyde, Donald, Alvin, and Leroy, and myself, Lewis.
Right.
And I don't know what year, but somewhere around 58, we ran up there, 59 and 60. And yeah, we really enjoyed that track. You could get in for $2 and you could race your car.
And you won a couple of features.
Oh yes, I run a few features, and then the biggest race I ever won was a 50-lap feature. That was a trophy race. I still have that trophy today.
Is that right?
Yeah, we enjoyed that. What we did then, we didn't have money to do, but we did it anyway.
Well, you probably, when you won the feature, how much money would you earn?
I think I made 35 on that one.
Probably paid for your car.
Oh yes, oh yes. I think I had 55 by the time I got done with the welder and everything. I had 55 in the car.
Did you really?
Yeah, but yeah, we got it skinned up a few times. We had 4 water pipes on each side and big H-beam in the back, so we could get hit and still not get hurt.
What was your number?
51.
51? Why that?
Well, I always come up with 51. I seen a race in Erie one time, and Tom Dill had it on his car, and I kind of did number stuck with me, and I went 51. And my brother Walt, he picked up 151.
Okay.
So if his car wasn't working real well, he'd use mine in the second heat, and I used mine in the first heat, and sometimes we'd use the same car. We had them both painted in white. So that's the way that worked. They looked just twin cars is what they were.
Right.
But we cheated a little. Some people cheated a lot.
What did you do to cheat a little?
Oh, just by changing the number and let him use my car.
Oh, I see.
You know, and then he bring it back in, and I go right out with it, and you know, yeah.
Obviously, this is jalopies, taken literally off the junkyards or the backyards. What did you have to do to sort of tweak your car?
Oh, the first thing we did was just take the fenders off, take the seat and the upholstery and the windows out, leave the windshield in, and then just put a bumper on the front where you could push something. Didn't take the radiator out. And rollover bars, we had to get that. On my car, I like to run the exhaust right off the exhaust, right up by the driver's seat and right out the top.
Right.
So I always revamp my exhaust pipe. So made a little more noise, and it always worked real well. And the last year I run, I actually took the fan off the motor.
Really?
And that kept the water and the mud and everything from coming back on the motor. So all I would do is wait until they was out there on that warm-up lap, and then I'd follow the last lap around and be last, of course.
Right.
And yeah, we enjoyed just sneaking around a bit. You know, that's the way you did what you did.
Did you when the feature race came and where they placed you? How did they place you in the starting? If you'd won some of the semis, would you place in the back?
Exactly. Yes. Yes. And I usually placed in the semi. I'd be 1 or 2, so I'd be right toward the back. So usually in the feature, I'd just wait till they got around that one warm-up lap, and then I'd drop down out of the pits until Pangborn, he started weeding them all. Then I had to start like everybody else did. But yeah, we had Pangborn in there, and he started winning them all, and we didn't have control like we usually did.
Was he the best?
He was, yeah. Yeah, he was acknowledged as real well. We made sure his car kept running. We all worked on everybody's car, because they worked on yours too.
Right.
If you were in trouble, they'd come right over and give you a hand, make sure you could get in the race. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that's kind of fun. It sounds like a family affair almost.
Oh yeah, it was a buddy race. Yeah. Nobody ever kept too many grudges.
Well, were there any, do you recall events where sometimes after a race in the pits things got a little heated?
Well, once in a while, but nah, not really. Everybody was just kind of a happy-go-lucky. There wasn't a lot of big money there anyhow, and everybody had their own family there, and that made a big difference.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
Though your brother did talk about a time where he was chasing a guy named Messenger
Oh yeah.
up into the woods. You remember that?
Oh yeah, I picked up a big rock and threw it at him. He was really something. He put my brother right into the pond upside down.
Oh gosh.
I thought he was going to drown, but they got him out.
Right?
And Johnny, he stayed away the following week, and then he came back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the boys weren't very happy with Johnny.
No, not at that time.
Yeah.
No. But he was always good competition. Yeah.
Who was the real competition up there? You mentioned Dick Pangborn. Were there other racers that you guys knew were on the track?
Oh yes. Yeah, we had Scott. He came up from Garland down there, or Grand Valley.
Right.
He was always good. And Don Little, and yeah, we had a lot of guys that sneak in there and they could just whip us. But it was always exciting to do what you could do, and then you find out what they had.
Right, right.
Yeah.
What's the highlight of your remembrances of the Roll O Bowl?
Well, how much fun we really had, and then that 50-lap feature I won.
Yeah.
I didn't never forget that, because that was just one lengthy race.
Yeah.
Yeah, we enjoyed it all.
You remember who you beat out, or did you pretty much have that race won at the
Oh, no, you never knew when your cart was going to quit when you're going through the creek. You had all that water to contend with and mud. And then after the race is over, they had a pump there. They started up and they'd wash your car off so they could take a picture so they could see the number. Otherwise, it was so muddy and sloppy you couldn't even you couldn't tell who was driving what.
Well, here's a headline: James Brothers race feature as Roll O Bowl. The James Brothers, Walt, Don, Elvin, Clyde, and Leroy. We're talking about the races here. And did you guys ever race among yourself? Was there ever a James Brothers race?
Yes, we had a competitive race. You know, I don't remember who won that. I just think I got beat out by two brothers, but I know I didn't win it.
Because you would have remembered.
Yeah, I would have remembered that. Yeah, I don't remember who won that race. It doesn't say in the minutes who won that thing. I think it'd be interesting to know, but I expect my brother Walt might have won that. He had a good sedan that was running pretty good at the time.
Right. Yeah, well, there we go, yes. In a special James Brothers match race, Walt was the winner of that also. So you must have, this is 1957.
1957.
You would have been, what, 10?
I would probably been third. I probably had one brother between
I'm
Walt.
10 years old. You would have been 10 years old?
Oh, no. We all raced. I was in that race.
Just
Yeah.
kidding. You look so young.
Yeah, there was only 18 months between Walt and I.
Is that right?
Yeah, he was my next younger brother. He got electrocuted in 1969.
Yep.
Yeah. We lost him in 69. That's actually the only brother we lost. We got 5 of us left.
Which is, all things considered, remarkable, you know.
Exactly.
Did you ask him about the John Messenger story yet?
Oh, yeah, where I threw the rock and he put my brother in the pond. Yes, he
You
did.
guys chased him up,
Yep.
chased him down the road?
He didn't come back the following week.
That was a true story, huh?
That was a very
That
true
wasn't
story.
just a legend.
No,
Well, Don was very articulate on it.
John did not come back. He did kick him back in a week or two.
One of the things that we heard that it was Don McNitt and Howard McNitt sort of planned out the actual track itself, working with your brother and your dad,
Yes,
Louie.
yes.
Do you remember any conversation about these crazy McNitts thinking about putting together a track?
You know, I have apparently, at that time we had a big garbage chute in Lakewood, and I think I was on that, and I never got on this excavating part because I don't remember ever laying out the track or working with the McNitts. But I know my father and brothers were up there trying to build a racetrack. Yeah.
So you took that on as a construction project, or was it more or less just helping out a neighbor?
Well, it was just kind of an hour.
Was it business or was it
It
friendship?
was business.
It was business.
Yes, McNetts were always business, and James's were always business.
Okay.
Yeah. We don't usually go helping somebody unless their house burnt. You know.
Okay.
Yeah, that was my father. He was pretty much business. He didn't drink or smoke, but he sure liked to work, and he worked us.
All right, here we go. Here's a highlight. James Brothers had big day on Roll O Bowl Oval. The 5 James brothers from Lakewood, Don, Louie, Clyde, Walt, and Leroy, took the Roll O Bowl Speedway apart yesterday, climaxing their afternoon's activity with a free-for-all in the 25-lap feature. Don edged Louie by half a hubcap in the main attraction after Clyde and Walt had held the lead earlier. You remember that crazy race at all?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was always fun to run against your brothers.
Yeah.
I enjoyed every minute of it. Yeah.
Well, apparently in the 57, you must have been the...
Well, I tell you, when I started up there, I had to get my father to sign because I was too young.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, and Dad said that's okay, you can drive. So he signed some whatever so I could drive. Yeah.
Well, you guys.
Because I'm the youngest of the 6 boys, so, and I tell you, I had a lot looking over me. When you get 5 brothers looking over you to make sure you do what they want you to do and you enjoy every minute of it.
Right.
Did you help each other
yes.
prepare your race cars?
Yes.
Or did you keep all your cars at one garage, for example? Or
Well, that's what split our racing up. In 1960-61, we had them all together down in the truck garage where we work on my dad's equipment. We come out Monday morning to go to work, and all these race cars are not where the equipment ought to be. And Dad said, this is enough of that. I expect this all to be gone this week.
Ah.
So we had to take our race cars out, and we had to go back into business.
Yeah.
You know, it become time that you better go back to work.
Did you race at other tracks?
Oh yes, we run Arkwright. I run Cool Road. Yeah, we run several tracks, and especially Sherman. We used to go over in Sherman. I put a half a quart of oil down my tailpipe, right down through the roof. Go out there and smoke up the track. Pretty quick, you know, it would burn off and the car would run real good, but I didn't want it to win because they'd tear the motor down. I didn't want them to do that. So I never won one at Sherman. I didn't want to. No, they didn't touch that motor.
Did you come back with any memorabilia of the days at Roll O Bowl, pictures, movies? Do you remember anything?
Oh yeah, we got a few pictures the wife took, but that was about it. Yeah, we didn't have any real movies back then.
Right.
Yeah. But we did have a good time. The wife and 3 kids sat up on the bank, and I was spending their last dollar. You didn't have no dollars, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
So you got a sense that just a group of racers, just like these guys over our shoulder, just a bunch of good old boys.
Yes, yes. You could buy a car for $25, put 25 in it, and win a $25 lap feature. Man, you really won something. It was enjoyable. You look back and these kids miss all that.
Right.
You know, competition. It don't make any difference if you're playing ball or racing cars. Competition is what it takes.
Right.
Yeah, and we enjoyed it.
This is terrific. I'm so thrilled. I can't wait to have you guys walk around the track today.
Yeah, I'll enjoy that. I really will.
brothers coming today?
Oh, my brother Donald is here. Yep.
Yeah, we talked to
I
Don.
didn't see him.
Yeah, he was one before me. Yeah.
Yeah, Don with great detail about John Messenger. It was,
Oh yeah.
we got it.
You got it.
We got it.
But you know, we always liked John, even then. You know, he was still.
To one of your brothers up to the pit and asked him about it, and well, in fact, 2 of your brothers were there that day, and I asked him about it. And at first, the one, I don't know which 2 brothers I was talking to, but they kind of looked at their shoes for a minute, and then they go, "Yep, that was true."
That
So
was
I
true.
thought maybe there was something to it that they didn't really want to tell me.
John was good, you know. John had the same thing when he was pulling horses. They'd run him off, you know, because he'd do something to horses and outpull the rest. John was big in horse pulling.
Oh?
Oh yeah, he was quite a conniver, and they pulled for big money.
Now,
Yeah.
didn't we read that there was a horse pulling event held at the racetrack, Greg?
Yeah, see, that would be because of John. John was always big horse run, yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, I think that was a one-shot deal. They didn't do so well. But
Yeah, I was thinking
Right.
they lost money on the deal and never
Yeah.
did it again.
Do you remember some of the wall of fire and the powder puff and some of the special events?
Not a lot of that, but I remember when my brother Walt was going to put on a big show, he was going to do a T-bone crash.
Right.
And they didn't have anything to build the ramp up with, so they stacked hay all the way up.
Right.
He hit that thing and the hay collapsed, and all he done was broadside the car. He was barreling down through there, man. He was going to do a big T-bone, and it didn't work. Yeah, he dared to do anything.
Well, I was going to say, he sounds like the...
James, thank you very much for coming.
Yep.
I'm reading an article here that was in the Post-Journal that said James brothers have big day on Roll O Bowl Oval. It's a article in August of 1957, and it talks about Don and Louie and Clyde and Walt and Leroy. So you guys were all racers.
Yep, back in them days.
Now, give me this, Skinner, the number of brothers. How many were there?
Well, I had 5 brothers.
5 brothers, and who were they?
Total. What do you mean, name-wise?
Name-wise, yeah.
Yeah, my oldest brother was Alvin,
Right,
and then it was me, Leroy,
right,
and Don,
right.
Clyde, Walter, and Louis.
Okay. And did you all race?
No, my oldest brother didn't race.
He didn't race.
No.
How did you guys get interested in just racing? Was that in your blood? Did your dad race at all?
Yeah, Dad raced at Satan's Bowl of Death.
Oh, really?
If you ever heard of that.
I've heard of that.
Yeah.
Where was that?
It's on Victory Sugar Grove Road.
And so you kids would go and watch him race?
Oh yeah, we'd go watch them race.
And that kind of got in your blood, huh?
Yeah. Back then all they had was they had an open car, like a hooping, just a frame.
Right.
And then they used to take like a wagon wheel, they take a tire off like on a buggy or a heavy wagon. Welded the frame, that's all they had was just a loop, just a hoop. And when they roll over, they roll all the way over and back on top again.
So they had roll bars, obviously.
That's all it was, just that one hoop, that's all they had.
My gosh.
Of course, they were older cars, like your Model A's, and they were lightweight. There was no weight there.
Now, what kind of car did you drive, Leroy?
Well, I had several different cars.
Right.
I had a Packard once, I had a Pontiac once, and I had a 48 Dodge, and then of course I had the Fords, 35 and 36 Fords.
Now, when you started racing, were you there when it began at the Roll O Bowl in 1956?
Yeah.
If you had to close your eyes and give us an idea of what a lap around the Roll O Bowl looked like or was like, because this is not your typical track, how would you describe it?
Well, you was running across a flat area, and then you run downhill, not real steep, but downhill through a creek, and then you run uphill, quite steep.
Right.
Then you run across the backstretch on the hill, and then you come back down through the creek again.
So the creek ran right through the track.
Right through the center of it, yeah.
How did you guys deal with driving through the water all the time?
Well, we had problems. We used to wrap the distributor with rubber and try to, make it waterproof.
Right.
Then we used to use silicone spray and spray the wires, and this way we was able to keep it running because it did get wet. You couldn't keep the water out of them.
So what other tricks of the trade did you use on the car? You basically bought a jalopy.
Oh yeah, just an old car.
An old car?
Yeah.
What did you do to sort of get it ready for the race?
Put roll bars in it and put a safety belt in it, and that was knock the windows out. That was about it.
What was your safety belt?
They was out of Army equipment. We didn't have safety belts back in them days in the cars, so they come out of Army equipment. Most of the safety belts were used.
So the Army-Navy store type thing?
Yep.
My gosh. What was your number?
Well, I started out with the number 13.
13.
Because I always considered, I was never superstitious.
Right.
And then I ended up with an 8 on the car, and then somebody else had one, so then I put a circle around it, and that was it. And that was the number I finished with.
Circle 8, huh?
Yeah.
How long did you race there?
Until they closed the track.
So you were there the whole 5 years or so?
Yeah.
Now, I heard the story that your dad worked with Don McNitt to sort of cut out the racetrack. Were you involved at all in the...
I wasn't involved in setting the racetrack up, but Dad did have a bulldozer, and Dad cleaned it. It was all trees, and they carved that track out, and that was it.
Did your dad ever come home and ever talk about what the heck the McNitts were doing?
No, it was just another job to him.
Yeah. Did you wonder what the McNitts were doing, taking a field and turning it into a racetrack?
Well, they were just trying to make $1, and of course that was the McNitts that run it. It was actually his parents' farm there. His mother lived there at that time.
Right. Did you know the McNitts or?
Oh yeah, I know him real well. I just lived down the street from him.
Oh, I see.
I only lived about a quarter-mile from the track.
Did you drive your car to the track?
A lot of times I did, yeah. It was illegal, but I drove it. Many times I drove the track. I very seldom towed it.
Now, were most of the drivers from the area?
Well, from Jamestown and Lakewood, I would say a big share of them was from Panama and Watts Flats.
During that time period, who were the top drivers?
I think Lixinger was probably one of the top ones.
Linky?
Yeah. And then, of course, we all take our turns winning and losing.
Right. Guys like Stan Stevens or Johnny Whitehead?
Yeah, Johnny Whitehead was very good.
Yep.
And Stevens, he took his share of the races.
Was there a guy there, right, a driver or two that maybe you said, gee, I hope I'm not on the last lap with him because he's just pushes you around a little bit?
Oh, yeah, we had some of them. Johnny Messenger, he'd like to push you off the track, you know. He'd do anything to win a race.
Now, I understand he did that one time to your brother.
Yeah, then we ganged up on him. We got him off the track, that was it.
What happened there? Explain that.
Well, all of us decided we didn't care if he was going to win a race or not. We were going to push him off the track. That was it, and we done so. And then we had no more trouble with him after that.
Your brother, I think it was Don, apparently he was pushed off the track by Johnny Messenger.
Oh, yeah.
And then you guys kind of took after Johnny Messenger.
No.
Were you part of that?
Oh, yeah, I was part of that. We had some other help, too, some of the other guys.
And what happened? He ran off into the woods? Messenger?
Well, yeah, he just went off the edge of the track. That was it.
Yep.
And so he didn't win no races that day.
Was there any other situations you recall where the drivers got a little hot, you know, in the pits and sort of?
Not too much. No, everybody got along real well. Right. Johnny was a problem, but everybody got along with everybody else.
Yeah.
Very good.
Did you ever get a time where it was just the James brothers racing?
Well, it sometimes happened.
Yeah. Who won?
Usually one of my brothers. They usually had better cars than I had.
Why was that? Would they let you have the better car?
Well, I never put my time into the race car too much. In other words, I worked all week. Sunday's the only time I had to work on the car, and when the car gave me any trouble, I'd get me a different one.
There you go.
Throw it out.
Well, it probably didn't cost you a lot to get the car, did it? I mean.
No. A lot of times you buy a car for $5, $10, right. $20 the most.
And you could win that much in a race.
Yeah. Usually a fresh car would win a couple of races, and then something would happen to it. Like in Packers, that was good for a race or two, but then the front ends were heavy, that was it. It would break down. Break the wheels right off at the front end.
Did you find that Don and Howard would encourage spectators to come, and they had special events on the track? Do you remember any of those?
Yeah, well, a lot of the spectators come to see certain ones, you know.
Right.
Like my brothers now, they run Ford cars most of the time, so the cars stood up good, right. And so they won some pretty good races. But like me and Red McNett and my brother Walt and us, we went there for the fun of it, and we probably put on more show than some of the others did. But some of the others done more winning than we did.
When you say put on more of a show, were you guys taking more liberties or more?
Well, we didn't care if we rolled it over or something happens, you know, it was common.
Were you ever, between races, sometimes they would have rollover contests and stuff like that. Were you part of any of that?
Oh, yeah.
How would that work?
Well, you get paid for rolling it over certain times, you know.
Yeah.
And it was easy to roll them over coming down off the top of the hill and down through the creek.
So how would you come when you're rolling it over? Would you come would it come on, I'm thinking back way? It was kind of an exhibition, wasn't it?
Yeah, you come across the back way,
Right.
and then you come down around the number, that would be the number 2 turn.
Right.
And, well, if you didn't let off on the gas, you're going to roll over, that's all. It would be that simple. You could roll over any time you wanted to.
So they were paying you to put on an exhibition.
Well, when your car got bad, seeing one thing another, then what the heck? Take it out there, have some good fun, the next weekend have a different car.
Were there any things like the wall of fire or anything like that? Do you remember?
No, we didn't have much of that, no.
Okay. Did Leo Jaeger, did he ever, I know I've read a couple spots where it said 300-pound Leo Jaeger through a circus-like wall of flame would drive his car through a fire. Did that ever occur?
It must have occurred, but we didn't have much of it.
Okay.
Yeah. Leo was quite a sportsman.
Was he a flag man?
No, but Net's done most of the flagging.
Now, I read in here also that every once in a while you'd have the women out there racing.
Yep.
What was that like?
Well, that was a powder puff, and they get the ladies all to race.
Right.
My wife was real good at it, and well, she won most of them.
And your wife's name was?
Clarine.
Clarine. And how would that work? Would they drive your cars, or did they have their own cars?
No, they drive anybody that let them drive their car.
Did you let her drive your car?
Yeah, and she ran out of gas once, and she wouldn't run it no more. She drove my brother.
Who else was in those races? Do you remember some of the other drivers?
Well, my brother-in-law, Robert Barton, he was in there.
Right. Well, I'm thinking of the powder puff races with Clarine.
I can't really tell you the different ones exactly.
So,
and then they get, she'd sign up. They'd all sign up, and then sometimes most of them would back out when she signed up because we can't win, so they wouldn't want to race. I've even seen them call a race off because they couldn't get enough of them to race.
So when she came home after the event and she had her little trophy and you didn't, what was that like at home?
Well, I didn't want no trophy. I'd rather have the money. Don't need no trophy.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what it was like at the dinner table. That's all. So you saw everything there. You did the rollovers, the powder puff.
Yep.
And you raced.
And we had the backup races too.
Or explain that.
I won one of them. I had a Chevrolet car, and they're faster steering than Ford, and you could outrun them Fords going backwards. Fords, you couldn't steer them fast enough going backwards. You know, you got to pass somebody.
Right.
You want to try that sometime when you're going backwards.
So let me get this straight. A backward race, you would literally go, put it in reverse.
You run the whole race backwards.
How many laps was that?
There was 10 laps.
You gotta be kidding me. Have you ever seen that?
No, I haven't.
So that was, you were involved in demolition derbies as well?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
How were they set up?
Well, usually you couldn't make a complete lap without hitting somebody, otherwise you're disqualified.
I see.
And you try to run backwards most of the time because usually the radiator is what knocks your car out, so
Right.
you try to protect the front end of it.
And would it be done, I'm just thinking now between turns 4 and turn 1, that's where the spectators principally were. Did you sort of stay in that area?
Yeah, in fact, sometimes that demolition was run on half the track, like the front half.
Right.
You go forward and backward.
So if you won, what did you win other than keeping your car going?
You won X amount of dollars, the last one running,
Okay.
and they paid third place, I think it was.
Okay. Was that fun? Being in a
Oh yeah,
demolition?
yeah. You get a car and you're about through it. That's the one you use. You don't use your race car for that.
Did you ever get hurt?
No.
No? I'm just thinking the car's getting, they're trying to knock you out.
Yeah.
Not you personally, but the car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But well, it's a short track, you know, and you only go so fast, and so that's the reason. There wasn't much chance of getting hurt. Like that guy hitting a tree, that's about the only chance. If you didn't hit something, you roll over and hit this and that. It was no big deal. Yeah, Blinky had trouble with his car one one Sunday. Now, normally his car, he had a good car. Normally he didn't have no problems.
Right.
So he was real discouraged, teed off. So he said, "Oh, it's all like car," and I says, "I'll buy it." So I bought it off him, and then I sold it back to him the next week because he wanted it back.
Did you make some money?
No, I didn't charge him any extra.
What's your best memory of Roll O Bowl racetrack? You had to look at all. You're looking at all these pictures and stuff.
Well, I had a '49 Chevrolet convertible, and I drove that around the track one day and sold it. I'd had the car for, I don't know, about 4 years. Only drove in the summertime.
Right.
And then I decided I'd had it long enough, and so I drove around the track to advertise it, and the guy bought it, and that was it.
You're the first one to ever use that for advertising.
So that was real quick.
Guys like you and Red McNitt were just having fun.
Yeah, we go out there, and we didn't care about your car. We go and have fun.